Good morning. Wow, it's funny. I haven't really cried yet, but here I am crying for the world, right? Um Welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin, and this morning we are going to celebrate the life of Maggie, who was my dear, dear feathered friend. I know so many of you loved her, and over the weekend on Friday, actually, I started having symptoms of COVID, coming down with COVID, and so I've been resting a lot. And Maggie Maggie would sleep under the covers, but sometimes she didn't sleep under the covers. She was really liking to bite my feet, and like not just little nips, but painfully. And I just needed so badly to get some sleep last night. And I put her in her cage, and she flailed about in her cage, and I think that she must have broken her neck. And so when I went to let her out of her cage this morning, she was on the floor of the cage and not alive anymore. Good morning, Rosalind. I'm so glad to have you here with us. So Maggie died last night, and I just wanted to take this time, this opportunity to celebrate her, because I know that she brought, hi Jenny, Maggie, who is the green cheek conure, masked marauder, the bird, the bird. She died last night, and so I was recovering from COVID over the weekend, and I just needed some sleep, and Maggie would be under my covers, and she liked to go down by my feet, but she was biting my feet and I couldn't sleep, and it hurt. And so I put her in her cage, and she flailed about in the cage, and I think she must have just broken her neck. So I thought, I know she's brought so much joy to so many people, not just me. And so I wanted to celebrate her. I didn't expect to, it's interesting because up until now, I haven't really been able to cry. And, it's kind of ironic that as soon as I'm in a public facing venue, all of a sudden I can't even get a word out without tears. Anyway, she was such a pistol, that little bird. She was a little being, but oh my gosh, the presence that bird had. She filled up my whole apartment. She filled up my life. She was constantly on me or near me. She was a character. She was so funny. And I know that a lot of you have memories of her antics. And I know she was so loved by you guys also. And she had she was a feisty little creature. She really was. She was a kind little spirit. Well, I don't know if kind is the right word for Maggie. Maggie was feisty. Maggie was really feisty. Excuse me, I'm still getting over COVID. But she was a character. The first day that I brought Maggie home, I had gone last January, the beginning of January. I drove down to Texas to go get her, And yeah, Jenny says, I saw her on your head. Yeah, she used to sit on my head. And when I'd wear this hat, she would climb and sit on the bill of the hat and then hang down and bite my nose. You know, she was such a character. And so when I brought her home, the very first thing she did, I have a cat who's a very, very, very gentle soul. And the very first thing that Maggie did was jump up on the bed, and she went over and bit Jewel's tail just to let Jewel know who was boss. And she had bullied Jewel up until the very end, where she would chase her away from her food, Maggie. So I would give Jewel, she had dehydrated chicken nuggets. Maggie would eat those. She had canned food. Maggie would eat that. And Maggie would go over and eat from Jewel's plate and chase Jewel away. So she was such a character. What other kind of, Maggie loved walnuts. And I think she was starting to learn, and she loved apples too. So I think she was starting to learn the words apple and walnuts. I think she was learning what they meant, you know, because I'd say to her, you want an apple? And she seemed to perk up like she knew what it meant, but she loved her apples. And well, apples are an unusual food for a bird. Maybe she loved apples, she loved walnuts, but she also liked the dehydrated chicken nuggets, which made her a little cannibal, as far as I could tell. Everything I ate, Maggie would eat. Oh, the cat food, Jenny says. Yeah, well, I think she ate the cat food just to kind of dominate the cat, you know. So my cat loves nori, and I hadn't had any nori for her for years because I couldn't find the one brand that she particularly liked. And I recently found it again, and I bought it for her, and she loves it. So I would be feeding the nori to Jewel, and Maggie couldn't stand not being part of it. She had to have some too, even though she didn't like it. She didn't even like it a little bit, but she would have to bite it and have some just because it was the cats, you know. So she was very territorial. And it's amazing how such a little creature can fill so much space, you know. Amazing. Like she really dominated my whole apartment, you know. So Jenny said the cat never bothered her. No, Maggie would bother the cat, and finally the cat would like haul off and smack her. But my cat is like the sweetest soul on the planet, and Maggie would tease her, literally trying to get her to smack her. I have a video that is hysterical where Maggie is kind of going like this and kind of playing peekaboo with the cat, and it's hysterical because she's twisting her head around and bouncing up and down, and finally the cat is like, okay, I've had enough of this, and hauls off and whacks her. And you can tell that that's what Maggie wanted. You know, she was tempting the cat until she hauled off and hit her. That's what Maggie wanted. You know, it was like a boxing match. It was really funny. And so she used to sleep under the covers. But every now and then, like lately, when she'd get under the covers, she would nip me and like grab just a tiny little bit of skin so that it hurt a lot, you know, but she would just nip me. And then sometimes she would just go biting my feet. She had a thing about feet, and she kept biting my feet the other night. And like I said, I had come down with COVID on Friday. And I spent the whole Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in bed and taking care of myself. And she just would not stop biting my feet. And so I put her in her cage, and she didn't like being in the cage, and she was flailing herself about in there. And then I think she just broke her neck. So I'm bereft. Hi, Elaine. It's so good to have you here. Maggie died last night, and so we're celebrating her life. And you know, how many birds have a public persona, you know, where people just so many people saw her and knew her and loved her. You know, it's pretty remarkable. She was such a character. And I know that a bunch of you guys tuned in here just to see Maggie, you know. And it's so strange, because when we experience death, it's such a disorienting experience, where, you know, how it reaches beyond sense. I don't know, Jenny. Jenny says, will you get another bird? I don't know. You know, like I said, Maggie kind of took over the whole apartment, and all my lampshades have bird poop on them. You know, like there's bird poop stains on all my lampshades. She was so destructive. I have a china cabinet that has kind of like carved wood on the front, you know, with openings for the windows. She'd go there and she'd chew on that, and she'd pick paint off the wall. And she just was amazingly destructive. And I just love that bird. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. Birds are amazing. Thank you. Jenny says it'll help me to get another bird. And Robin, welcome. And so good to have you here. Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, she flailed about and killed herself last night, you know, like broke her neck, I think. And yeah, Elaine, thank you. Elaine says, thank you, Maggie, for your beautiful light in the world. Love you. Yes, me too. She was an amazing spirit. She was very funny, and very competitive with my cat, which was really interesting. Like, she was making sure that Jewel knew who was boss. You know? And every now and then, it happened maybe 3 times. It happened maybe 3 times where she would fly onto Jewel. And I have a picture or two of her sitting on my cat. I mean, she was a pip. She was just crazy. And she knew how to say her name. That was the only thing she ever said. Thank you so much, Tammy. She knew how to say her name. Everything was Maggie. And I'm so surprised that she never learned how to say no biting, because she would always nip and bite. And she was getting better with that toward the end, more recently, where she wasn't biting me so hard usually. but oh my gosh, she could draw blood with that beak. She drew blood on a lot of people. So Rosalind says, oh no, I'm so sorry. She brought so much joy and she will be missed. Mira, the void and silence in the following days hopefully gets easier. I love you, Maggie Pooh. Her personality was captured in so many videos. I'll rewatch those videos with nostalgia. Yes, she was such a character, and how awesome to have such extensive documentation of how crazy that little person was. I mean, she was just such an amazing character. Pat says, good afternoon. So sorry for your loss of the lovely Maggie. My grandson Tom loved her because she allowed him ice cream. I don't understand how that works, but okay. Thank you, Pat. And birds will be birds for sure. So she was like not having any of being in the cage. That was not gonna happen, I guess. So she was stubborn. Oh my gosh, was she stubborn? And she loved experimenting with gravity. You know, she made a career of picking things off the shelves that I had, where I had things displayed, and dropping them on the floor. And she made so many messes. Oh my gosh, it's hard to imagine that one little creature can make so much mess. Elaine says she's still here, love. Well, I wish I could hear her, and I wish she hadn't done what she did. Jenny says, my friend had an African gray that would call for my dog by name and tell the dogs to go to house and say, Heelan, shut, not my friend's name. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Jenny. Elaine says they are stubborn. Rochelle, my bird can put you to the test. She's one of the greatest teachers. Well, Maggie definitely put me to the test for sure. When I would take a shower in the morning, she would fly into, so the shower that I have is a shower attached to a bathtub. And oh, funny. So Jenny says that the African gray would say, shut up, Helen, and that wasn't even her friend's name. That's so funny. So I forget what I was going to say. Oh, in the shower, every morning when I would take a shower, it's a bathtub that has a shower attachment. She would go up to where the shower head was, and she would drink the water drips from where the shower head was. And so we would take a shower together, and sometimes she'd let me take her on my hand, and then I would let the water sort of spray off my head, and sometimes it would spray on her and she'd get all ruffled. And she was amazing. Whenever I'd go anywhere in the house, she would fly after me and get on my shoulder. And she liked chewing on my ears. I was her favorite chew toy. She really liked, she stole a couple of the keys from my keyboard on my computer. And so I had to put a cover on top of the keyboard. She would figure out how to lift the cover and then reach in and grab another key. Fortunately, I have a video or two of her stealing the keys from the keyboard. It's hysterical. So Pat says, one day when we were watching you, Maggie made her sound. You said that you didn't know what she said that time. And Tom said that Maggie wants him to have ice cream. Everyone agreed with his interpretation. Oh, Pat, that's adorable. So Maggie wanted him to have ice cream. Probably. She was so funny, like when I would give her, I had a bag of conure food. And when I'd open that bag and I'd go in and I'd get some food and I'd put it in her dish, she would scramble over to go get that food in her dish. Like she would, like a bird's version of run over and clamber down to get inside the cage to go get that food. And she would push through with her beak through the food to find her favorite morsels. There was this little white seed that she really, really, really loved. And so it was so cute. It was like a dog, that would be running for treats. She really dug it. It was adorable. Jenny says, I didn't have baby toys for her. But she made toys out of everything I had. So, yeah, she was amazing. Bernadette says, I'm so sorry. Oh, yes, I am too, Bernadette. So Jenny says, did she walk like a chicken? She was pigeon-toed. So it was so funny because she'd sleep under the covers. And then in the morning, I'd lift the covers up and I'd say, good morning, Maggie. And Maggie would come walking out from under the covers like this with her little feet. I don't know if you can see, but like this, like 1 foot in front, like very pigeon-toed. And she would walk out and sometimes her feathers would be tousled from the way that the covers were over her. And yeah, she was adorable. I loved her to pieces. And so Jenny says, like, yeah, she was adorable. She was. Yeah, she really, really was adorable. And I adored her. She was a tremendous gift in my life. And I just feel very sad that she's gone. And I feel some guilt for putting her in her cage and or not letting her out when she started banging around in there. I thought she would just calm down, but she didn't. She killed herself. I think she broke her neck. And I just thank you, Bernadette. Thank you. Anyway, Maggie's gonna live on. I told you all that I've been making NFTs of Maggie for a while. I'm going to call them Maggies. There's going to be a collection of 11,111 of them. And now they're memorial Maggies. Which is just so sad. Thank you, Robin. It's such a weird thing, it took me hours to be able to cry just because it's really hard to wrap your head around somebody's here and then they're gone. It just doesn't make sense. I hope she was 1 in a million. She was, I guess. Yeah, pretty freaking dramatic. She's like such a stubborn person, that little bird. I'm not gonna make a Facebook tribute right now, because Maggie's gonna fund my vision of the eco park. So her legacy is gonna live on in a big way. Yeah, I don't know about rescue bird sanctuaries. Maybe I could check that out. She was like a people, for sure, for sure. Thank you, Bernadette. Maybe at some point for sure. So anyway, I thank you all for being here with me and for loving Maggie so much. And until next time, thank you for giving me the space to share this with you. I'm really grateful. And hopefully I'll see you again back here real soon. Lots of love to all of you. Take care.